Welcome to Reddit News. Like and subscribe or this will eat your cookies.
What can someone do to get you to like them? Within about a minute or two of meeting you. When the person makes you feel valued. That talking with you is a pleasure, not just perfunctory. Door-to-door salespeople are really good at this. I estimate you and your value to be high enough to buy my product.
Fine, sir or madam.
This is my #1 rule in any retail job I work at. Even if you don't like the person, if you pretend you are interested in them and help them, they will usually buy something. Most of the time, I do like talking to them though. +1 for perfunctory. This word just entered my vocabulary the other day. It was in an episode of Californication. Yeah, this is 100%. A genuine smile and not complaining. So many people start a conversation by complaining about some aspect of their life. That's just no way to live. I realized recently that I'm bad for doing this. Surprisingly difficult habit to break. I do this too. I like to complain because it helps me cope with my day-to-day responsibilities. Take it from a nurse. That alone will only get you so far if cynicism is the only tool in your box. Eventually, the people around you will take notice and start instinctively distancing themselves from the negativity. At a certain point, you need to start dealing with it in a healthier way. Most recently, I've started trying to counter negative thoughts immediately with a positive one. It's helped a bit, but is one of many tools in my box. Wedged between bottles of liquor. What are some coping mechanisms that you would recommend? I'm down for anything. I really like the positive thought tactic. Personally, I use 3 positive thoughts every time I have a negative thought. 3 positives forces me to think for a moment about things in that moment I can enjoy. Whether there's a pretty tree, or it's just the right temperature, or my hair looks really good today. Just something nice. That's helped me a lot, because my negative thoughts are always overwhelmed by a greater number of positive thoughts. Active listening. Pay attention to the person speaking and acknowledge what they're saying. When it comes to your turn to speak, chat for a short while, but bring it back around to them by asking open-ended questions and continue to actively listen. I don't know the full science behind it, but I read something before that it creates a comfortable relationship in the person's brain and they will instinctively like you more. NB. I can't say this actually worked for me. I'm rather socially inept, so actually coming up with open-ended questions is a struggle. Can confirm. People say that I'm one of the most comfortable people to talk to, and that they feel like they can talk with me about anything. A great conversationalist, etc. Little do they know, most of my side of the conversation is just asking questions and using their answers to ask another question. That's what good conversations are, though. Without each person building on each other's responses, it is just people talking at each other. Unless you mean they don't do that, and you are just prompting them to continue talking. Well, that is a whole other kettle of fish. If I make a joke, and they successfully yes and me, that feels really good. I love it when someone adds on. I also love it when someone sets me up. 10 out of 10 would talk to again. Please, can you give an example so I understand what the fluff everyone is talking about here? When someone stars a conversation, or goes down a weird path in conversation, instead of changing the topic, you yes and it. So, I say something about going to the store because I need dragon eggs. You say, yes, and make sure you get me that new love potion. You're following down the path they created, rather than trying to tell them dragon eggs aren't real. Yes. And when someone has what they call a love potion, don't drink it, because it's probably a normal drink with roofies in it. Nailed it! Stick up for someone. I, open parentheses, plumber, close parentheses, was meeting with a group of realtors to discuss some repairs that needed to be done at a house. One of the realtors was talking about another agent and said that she was retarded. Jason, one of the agents, stood up for her. Hey man, it's not cool to talk about her behind her back like that, and you shouldn't use the R word. Massive respect since then. And you shouldn't use the R word. Realtor? The other R word. Oh, refrigerator. No, Redditor. I had a client tell me she really likes me because you can tell I genuinely listen to everything she's saying and give an honest, thought-out response. My business with said client ended back in February, and she moved 800 miles away, but she still texts and calls me periodically to catch up with my family. This means so much to me. Because I have very bad social anxiety, and I'm trying my best to seem normal around people, especially clients. Some of the friendliest, most welcoming people I've ever met later admit they had bad social anxiety. It always surprises me, but I guess it makes sense in some ways. It comes down to thoughtfulness. Social anxiety comes partly from overthinking things, but in a way, it means you are always in a state of thought about how you appear, speak, and generally interact with someone else due to this constant tension. It's exhausting, but that thoughtfulness does show in conversation. It's nice when social anxiety sufferers warm up to conversation after being around for a while. That's so true. I always get told how great of a guest I am whenever I visit someone's house, and I wish I could tell them that I actually feel like I'm dying all the time. I totally do. So many people tell me how friendly and warm I am, and I always want to scream, "Don't you see how terrified I am?" I've been told more than a few times I have the gift of gab. I have so much anxiety, it's borderline paralyzing, and I have to force myself through everyday situations. I'm genuinely confused about how these two things coexist. People like talking about themselves more than they like being spoken to. You're probably letting them talk about themselves more than most, and it makes them feel like you're really interested in them. I feel that sort of stuff is easier for me to handle than being the one talked about. It sometimes gets out of hand, where I act like a computer asking questions when we first meet. Although I do get better with talking to them when I feel more comfortable. Otherwise, I need about 2 to 3 people in a group to feel less awkward. Just out of curiosity, what is your job? I'm an R word. OMG. I'm looking for a home now, and my realtor is a godsend. She is magical. Thank you for being a realtor. I love it. I'm glad you love your realtor. It can make a world of difference in your experience. I personally love working with buyers because I get almost as excited as they do when we find the one. Happy hunting to you. Have a dog. Hello, I have 2 dogs. I have 5. I also have a cat. I have 2 cats that were raised by a Rottweiler. They are the best cats I've ever had. Cats raised by dogs are always fun. Mine was raised by our shepherd mix before we got the Mal. And he's the coolest cat I've had. Talk about Harry Potter and not make a face when I say that I'm Hufflepuff. Username does not check out, but Take My Upvote can relate. That's a constant reminder to myself. But I fail. Hufflepuffs unite. Hell yeah, Puff love. The best house because they're the nearest to the kitchen. Talk about Harry Potter and not make a face when I say that I'm a Hufflepuff. My husband is a Hufflepuff, and that staunch loyalty, honesty, and work ethic has changed my entire world. Love you, Badgers. Yellow hearts. Neat. I'm a Muggle. Still better than insulting puffs. Better Hufflepuff than Slytherin. There are grown adults who identify with the Confederacy of Harry Potter. For me, it's never bring up Harry Potter. Give me pizza. Pretty much 100% success rate. I'm weak when it comes to the za. Za, dude. Za warudo. This is going to sound so shallow compared to the other comments. But if someone compliments my dog, I instantly think, this person was raised right. I try not to make that the basis of my value judgments. Hitler loved a good dog. So what you're saying is, you think my dog is a good dog. I like you. Ask to walk and talk. My friend and I usually start the conversation while eating, and then we go outside and keep talking. It's honestly pretty nice. Reference or quote one of my fave books, films, or TV programs. The more obscure, the better. How about I'm Garth Marenghi, author, dreamweaver, visionary? Sure, that'd probably work. Apple strudel and kittens. Literally my two favorite topics. OMJ. Hand me a kitten and I will love you forever. I'd prefer a brownie to apple strudel though. I forgot brownies were a thing, OMG. Love them too, but apple strudel is to me what air is to a drowning person. Because I'm starved for attention, any form of positive attention is going to be enough. Honestly, indifference gets old quickly. That's sad. Do you participate in any social activities? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I never did anything social in my high school, but I'm trying to make myself more available in college. Maybe I'm not doing it right. I don't know. You've probably heard this 1,000 times, but it's really true. The best way to make friends, become more comfortable with yourself, and practice interpersonal skills. Open parentheses, because it does take practice, close parentheses, is to join groups of people who have similar interests, hiking clubs, gaming, music, philosophy, reading, whatever you like. You have an automatic subject matter that you all like and can talk about. And your self-confidence will be increased when others listen to your opinions and knowledge and engage in conversation. I've experienced this many times. It is a safer situation than just always walking into the experience cold. It's a process. I mean, I do have friends. Most of my good friends are online, and there aren't any in-person gaming clubs for miles around me. I get it. I just remember when I went to college back in the olden days before the internet. None of my high school friends went to the same college as me, so I needed and wanted to make friends there so I had people to hang out with, you know? It's important that where you are feels somewhat like home for whatever period of time you are there, so you can learn all types of things and not just in your field of study. Having your people, or just one person, helps so much. Maybe start an in-person gaming club yourself, since there isn't one near you. Even if just one person is interested, who cares? That's what you are looking for, right? A person with like-minded interests. It will grow from there. Just a thought. Compliment me. It never happens, so when it does, it makes my day, and depending on the compliment, my week. More like my year. Depending on the compliment, my decade. Depends on the person complimenting too. If it's a girl, I'm like, over the moon. If a guy, I'm over the moon. It's great. Eye contact. Smile. Ask about the person you're meeting. Listen. That's pretty much it. This can be summed up as being present and engaged. Not everyone will like/love you, but if you start this way, you'll be ahead of the game. Be on time. I cannot say this enough. Tardiness is a huge deal breaker, as it speaks volume on how someone could be lazy and untrustworthy. Talk to me about Mario, Zelda, or Dragon Age. Favorite Mario/Zelda game? Mario RPG / First Paper Mario. Link to the Past / Ocarina of Time. Nice. I never really got to play Mario RPG or ALTTP, so I might end up playing them at some point.